Good morning, guys. Hey, thank you very much for joining me today. Let's talk bale wrapping a little bit. We'll use my numbers, the price I got for the hay, the amount of hay I got, the price of the wrapper, and whatnot. And so we'll spin around, we'll look at the wrapper and have a good little discussion. And then, like always, if you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. Thank you and support the channel. And then comment below, do you wrap, not wrap? How do you handle that? So Pugview Farms was thinking about a wrapper, and so I thought this would be a great video for him and anybody else. But here's just the basic Econo wrap. It was $4,000. It works with the 40-20 really well. It's super simple. You simply plug it into your hydraulics. I had to add a restricting or regulating block to slow the flow down. And so slow your SCV down as much as you can if you're an open center tractor and it's not adjustable. Then you'll have to get that block. The 40-20 is an early 40-20, so instead of going underneath the hood to slow it down, I just simply put that on there. And it works out really well because this thing only has to you'll see my videos from last year, it don't spin very fast. Your plastic goes on here, you just follow the sticker on how to route it. It's very simple to route. And then you just have this little box you just keep up on your dash. And on the 30-inch rolls, the 30-inch rolls, 16 wraps, 16 revolutions gives you your full wrap. When it gets to 16 in this position, you lift your 3-point hitch. In working position, when you're in working position, you lift the 3-point hitch and it flips it back with 1,200-pound bales. The 40-20 was a little light up front, but not too bad. I don't think a 30-20, the 40-20 of the 10,000-pound tractor, that's about the minimum I would want, unless you had a lighter tractor that happened to have a loader where you could just put a front bale on the front. Because you're a ways back, from the 3-point, but it's cheap. The wrap was about $3 a bale. We'll get into that. When the two of us were there, when Dad was sitting on the wrapper, and when I just took the bales and was shuffling right on to him, it was we're doing almost 30 bales an hour. And so it don't take long. It don't take long, and you got a good little row of marshmallows out there. So let's go look at the hay and talk some numbers. Additional, the dry hay. One, you fight all summer to get it put up. Without being able to bale wrap, we know we're going to have one cutting a year that's going to be complete crap. Guaranteed. I could go to the bank with that statement. And one cutting a year. That come wintertime, you got ice melted in. That net wrap's melted into the top of the bale with ice. It's going to be a miserable bugger. It's froze to the ground, so you're going to leave some on the ground. You got to break some of the bale off to get that net wrap off because you're not hauling net wrap in for the cattle to eat. Otherwise, you break it off in the pasture, and then they bed on it. But either way, you still got loss of hay. If you're selling hay, you get the weathering, which can reduce price. Come summertime, you come out and that bottom 4 or 5 inches is all manured out and wasted hay. With a net wrap, it's $3 a bale. You get storage loss, 0. There's 0 storage loss being out here. One thing I do say is we need next year to spray this area to kill all the grass or bring in some sand for the bales to sit on, because the rodents came out of the grass and just had a field day getting into the bales. But even then, the bale with a little mouse hole in it, 0 waste on that bale. $3, you'll make your $3 back threefold on every bale that you wrap, even if it's dry hay. If you put up dry hay in our part of the country, there's my tin shed storage right there. So for storage-wise, you're making your money back on the wrapping. It's a non-issue. Feed-wise, so this is 198 feed quality, 20.9 on the protein, 5% on the sugars. That's what dairy farmers stay awake at night for, is them kind of numbers. So the feed quality is excellent. Feed waste at the feed bunk, we know with that dry hay, they're going to bite into it. They drag it out. They chew. You're going to have litter all around the hay bunks and stuff like that. This stuff I put in you could use one of them hay savers, them expensive hay saving bale rings, because there's no bad spot on the bale. They will eat 103% of that bale. The first time I fed one of them bales, I put it in the wood feed bunk, and they licked that sucker clean, and there wasn't a stem on the ground. There was virtually zero loss with that guy. Now, if you did dry hay, you would still have some loss, but then you'd have that hay saver feed bunk, and you'd get your money back on that ability. So for storage, the Net Rapid isn't even it's a no-brainer in our part of the country. How we got onto this was we had a cutting of hay out here in October. We cannot make dry hay. We were not about to chop and make a small pile. So the only option we had was to run and get the wrapper. We got about a ton per acre, which gave us enough of these marshmallows that we fed marshmallows all winter along with our dry hay to get us to this time of the year. Now at this time of the year, we can see, okay, we had some extra inventory. So I was selling these for $80 a bale, and I was selling them for $60 a bale. I sold 40 of these and 12 of them. That gave me $3,900 in my first year of hay sales. My first year of hay sales, and I haven't even put up hay yet, but it's 2019. But my first hay sales gave me $3,900 on a $4,000 investment. Plus, it gave me enough hay to get through the winter, so I didn't have to buy hay. Huge value right there. The other value is in the hay field itself. So when we can make dry hay, we make dry hay, and we're going to wrap it, take advantage of the storage. When we're going to have a forecast, like so in July, when the humidity looks like this, you're not going to make dry hay that time. But if it's time to cut hay, you need to make hay. So now we can control our quality with the wrapping. So if we've tried like them bales, remember last year, them bales laid out there for 10 days practically. That's pretty common. When it looks like this in July, that hay is going to lay out there for 2 weeks. Hopefully it don't get rained on. It's going to turn black. It's going to get stinky. And you're going to get a kick on price. Horse people will just simply reject you for the most part. With the wrapping, what we can do is, okay, that's our crop we make baleage out of. We cut, it lays for a day, we rake and then bale. Pretty simple. With dry hay, we know that when that next cutting is coming up through the next crop, the field, it goes from brown, so it looks like you just cut it, then it starts turning green. Once it starts turning green, every time we're out there making trips, we're reducing tonnage on the next cutting. So when that hay is, boot high and beautiful green, and we're out there moving bales, and then at the next cutting you see all them wheel tracks, that could be a potential 30% loss of revenue per acre. Of lost tonnage. Well, at a ton, 30% is 600 some pounds. That's half a bale. That's $30 to $40 an acre in lost revenue because you couldn't get the previous hay up on time. So at a half a bale an acre off this 40 acres, I would have got 20 more bales at $80. That's $1,600 more dollars I would have got off the next cutting in that scenario. That's simple math, guys. That is simple math. And in our part of the country, that math will happen every single year on a cutting. And so it's pretty amazing. I'm when we did haylage with the cows and put haylage up in the harvester, it was a non-issue because it's the exact same thing. You cut one day, let it sit, and a day or two later you chop it. No big deal. Boom, you are done with the hay crop. Haylage was very expensive because you just use a lot of fuel and a lot of horsepower and labor. But yeah, this is my poor man's haylage, and it works very well. So there's my numbers of doing it. The other thing is with the horse people. So the horse people in our area is a huge market for us. I guarantee they don't even have to know that it's wrapped hay. Come next winter, I can peel the wrapping off here, load up a trailer and take it up to Rock Creek to the auction place, and you'll get a premium because it looks like it was stored in a shed. It's nice and clean. There's no mold in it. Horse people will fight over each other to get that kind of hay. That's how you get $100 a ton, or $100 a bale for just dry hay. is the poor man's storage. And so, you know, anybody thinking about wrapping, that's our 2 cents. That's how it works here. Guys, thank you very much for watching.